In this video, we're going to look at immersion heaters and how older models might pose a danger if they're installed in your home. In this video, I'm going to talk about a national tragedy that happened back in 2006. Unfortunately, this involved the death of a young baby. So if you don't want to hear any more on the story, now's the time to turn off this video. But first, what are immersion heaters? Please ignore my rubbish sketch, but this is the watering system where the immersion heater might become a problem. So this is how this works. Cold water is supplied directly into a tank in the loft. Cold water then travels down into your hot water cylinder where the immersion heater, which is an electrical accessory, comes on, heats the water up, and then hot water is fed to your hot taps. So that's how the typical gravity fed watering system works. Now what happened with the baby was the immersion heater was left on. The parents were obviously thinking that the immersion would shut down once the thermostat had reached temperature, but the thermostat became faulty, so the contacts welded shut and the water just kept on boiling. Now what happened there was the water got so hot that it actually travelled up the cold pipe and into the tank in the loft, and the tank was plastic, so boiling scalding hot water was sitting in the tank in the loft, and eventually the tank ruptured and water fell down. It went through the ceiling and unfortunately it landed on the baby and killed the baby. Immersion heaters installed today incorporate what's called a safety reset button. So if the water gets too hot, this operates and shuts the thermostat down. So if the contact's welded shut, that's a safety feature that stops the water from overheating. So what I recommend that you do is have a look at your old immersion system and see if your thermostat is incorporating the safety reset button. And if it's not, I'm going to show you how to change it in this video. And you might say, is this something that a D.L.R person can do? Yes, it is. It's a very straightforward job for the homeowner to do, and I would encourage you to change your old immersion stat for a new model. Remember, our regulations in this country work on the basis that we will do this moving forward. So if you live in a new home, you're going to have a new thermostat installed on your immersion heater, so you're not going to have the old dangerous model. However, if you live in an older property like this one, where you can see that the tank's a lot older, you might have that problem. This house does incorporate an old stat where it doesn't have the reset button, so I'm going to be fitting a brand new stat that has the reset. As you can see here at the top, it has the reset button. So I'm going to make this house and the immersion system a lot safer. Okay, so in we go. Straight away we're changing it. First thing I have to do is undo the screw. Usually these are nuts on a bolt. This time it's a screw, so you may need pliers. Well, more than likely you're going to need pliers. I'm hoping you can see this immersion doesn't incorporate the stat, so we're going to get rid of this one and put the new one in. All they are, two screws, one there, breaking the line conductor when it reaches temperature. So all we have to do is unscrew that, take that out. Eventually, there we go. Obviously previously off camera I've made sure this is dead. Didn't mean for the cover to pull off, usually they don't, but this time it has. And these just pull out just like that. As simple as that. It's very important that you get the same size thermostat as the one that you've previously taken out. Otherwise it's not going to heat the water up adequately. And I'm going to slide the new one in, as simple as that. So now that's in there, and now all I've got to do is put the wires back in, screw it up, and it's job done. Be very careful that all the conductor goes into the terminal. You don't want any of it poking out, which could come into contact with the earth pin, and then it's gonna blow the fuse if that happens. So it's very important that you make sure that the conductor is fully in there. As you can see here on this strand, when I've pulled some out, it's one of the strands poking out on the conductor. So give it a little twist. You can actually see here the insulation's breaking, started to break under the heat. This is heat resistant flex, but it still ages, so I'm going to strip that back a little bit, and I encourage you to do the same if you come across it. Not just put it in, actually make it right. Okay, that's a bit better. Taking my time, and it's in. Screw it up. And finally, putting the cover back on. Do make sure it's tight so no fingers can get in there, and just take it off. You'll be surprised how many I come across while I just go in there and I know, oh, I ain't got to get my pliers out because it's just going to be finger tight. Done, I'm in. So always make sure it's fully tight so there's no accidents in the future.